Michael 2 is officially happening. Lionsgate has confirmed that a sequel to the Michael Jackson biopic is moving forward. And what's remarkable isn't just that announcement, it's the absolutely chaotic, legally explosive, and deeply controversial road that got us here. This story might be more dramatic than the film itself. Let's start at the beginning. The Michael Jackson biopic, simply titled Michael, hit theaters on April 24, 2026, and immediately became the biggest music biopic in history. $97 million on opening weekend. That's not a typo. 97 million, obliterating the previous record held by Straight Outta Compton at 60 million. By its third weekend, Michael had crossed $500 million worldwide, becoming only the second music biopic ever to pass that milestone after Bohemian Rhapsody, and the #1 music biopic of all time in North America. Lionsgate is now projecting the film could reach 700 to 800 million globally, with a potential path to $1 billion. And all of this happened despite critics absolutely savaging it. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film sits at a brutal 39% from critics. Metacritic gave it a 39 out of 100. The BBC's Nicholas Barber gave it 1 out of 5 stars, calling it a bland and barely competent daytime TV movie. Robert Daniels of RogerEbert.com wrote that Michael isn't a movie, it's a filmed playlist in search of a story. But here's where it gets fascinating. The audience score? A verified, scorching 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, the highest audience rating for any music biopic ever recorded. That gap between critics and audiences tells you everything about what this film is and what it deliberately chose not to be. The film was directed by Antoine Fuqua, written by 3-time Oscar nominee John Logan, and produced by Graham King, who won an Oscar for The Departed. Michael Jackson is portrayed by his own nephew, Jafar Jackson, who survived a 2-year casting process and moved back into the Jackson family's Havenhurst estate to prepare. Jafar created a research room, trained in the same dance studio Michael used, and even slept in different rooms throughout the house, just to, in his words, feel the energy. The performance earned universal praise, even from critics who despised the film. Variety's Owen Gleiberman said Jafar nails the look, the voice, the electrostatic moves, and the mix of delicacy and steel that made Michael who he was. But the real story isn't the performance, it's what was cut from the film and why. Here's what most people don't know. The original script started and ended with the Jordan Chandler story. The 1993 abuse allegations were the central framing device of the entire movie. Fuqua filmed extensive sequences recreating the infamous raid on Neverland Ranch. He shot scenes of Jackson being strip-searched by police. As Fuqua himself told The New Yorker, "I shot him being stripped naked, treated like an animal, a monster." Then, in the fall of 2024, after principal photography had already wrapped, the creative team received devastating news. The depiction of the Chandler case violated the terms of a $20 million legal settlement. Everything they had filmed around those allegations was unusable. The entire third act of the movie had to be thrown out. This triggered 22 days of reshoots in June of 2025 to construct a completely new ending, pushing the budget from an already massive $165 million to roughly $200 million. Fuqua and producer Graham King reportedly received $25 million specifically to cut and reshoot scenes related to the allegations. The process was further delayed when screenwriter John Logan's house was damaged in the Palisades fire. The film was pushed from April 2025 to October 2025, and then pushed again to April 2026. The result is a film that covers Michael Jackson's life from the Jackson 5 era through the Bad Tour in the late 1980s, stopping well before the most controversial chapters of his life. The Telegraph's Robbie Collins said the film refused to address the elephant in the room. Producer Graham King's response was blunt. "We chose to tell the uplifting story of his triumph in the movie, and that's what we did." Not everyone in the Jackson family agreed with that approach. Paris Jackson, Michael's daughter, was scathing in her criticism. "It's not real, but it's sold to you as real," she said. "The narrative is being controlled, and there's a lot of inaccuracy, and there's a lot of just full-blown lies." When actor Coleman Domingo publicly claimed that Paris and her brother Prince were very much in support of the film, Paris fired back on Instagram. "Don't be telling people I was helpful on the set of a movie I had 0% involvement in. That is so weird." She said the film panders to a very specific section of my dad's fandom that still lives in a fantasy. Paris and Janet Jackson both conspicuously skipped the Los Angeles premiere, a stunning absence that exposed a deeper family rift. Michael's siblings, Janet, Randy, and Rebby, don't even appear as characters in the film. According to LaToya Jackson, Janet kindly declined to be included. Others passionately defended the project. Filmmaker Spike Lee said he loved the film. Michael's nephew, Taj Jackson, told critics to beat it, writing, "Sorry, media, you don't get to control the narrative anymore of who Michael Jackson truly was." Now, here's where things get really interesting. On March 4th, 2026, weeks before the film even premiered, Lionsgate's Chief Financial Officer, Jim Barge, was speaking at the Morgan Stanley Technology, Media, and Telecom Conference, and he let something slip. He told attendees to expect Michael 2 in fiscal year 2028. He referenced a sequel multiple times during the discussion, seemingly confirming that a second film was already being planned. Then came the box office explosion, and suddenly, Lionsgate wasn't being coy anymore. On April 27, 2026, Lionsgate chairman Adam Fogelson confirmed the sequel outright in an interview with Business Insider, stating, "There's at least one more movie." He later shared on the podcast The Town that filming could begin as early as late 2026 or 2027. The first film even ends with a title card reading, "His story will continue." Fogelson was candid about why a sequel makes sense. There is a massive amount of music and life experiences, separate and apart from allegations, that would fill more than a second movie on its own. He admitted he always believed that you could make a more complete and satisfying telling of Michael's story if you weren't confined to only one movie. Here's the detail that makes the sequel particularly feasible. Usable footage from the original shoot, including concert sequences from the Dangerous and Invincible tours, could constitute as much as a third of the second film. Fuqua confirmed that footage already exists, extending well beyond where the first film ended. "We went pretty far," he said. "We went through the Jordan allegations we couldn't use. We went farther than that, maybe a year or two after that." The sequel is expected to cover the Dangerous, History, and Invincible eras, potentially concluding with the preparation for the This Is It London residency and Jackson's passing in 2009. Producer Graham King has told studios he would focus on the later albums, the construction of Neverland Ranch, and even Jackson's love of animals. But the elephant in the room remains. When asked whether the sequel would address the abuse allegations, Fogelson chose his words carefully. "It's a really complicated question, and I'm not sure I think that I am the best person or now is the best time." The legal stipulation from the Chandler settlement still applies, but as Jackson's life moves deeper into the 90s and 2000s, avoiding the allegations entirely becomes exponentially harder. What we're watching unfold is something unprecedented, an estate-approved biography of one of the most controversial figures in entertainment history, told across multiple films, generating billions of dollars, while the subject's own daughter calls it a collection of lies. The Michael Jackson estate, which was $500 million in debt at the time of his death, is now worth $2 billion. Since 2009, that estate has earned over $3.5 billion. Michael 2 is coming. The only question is whether it will finally confront what the first film went to extraordinary lengths to avoid.